I used to have this belief that because of my genetics, I simply just wasn't able to be in shape or lose weight. For most of my life, I've always been that chubby brown kid, and I had this core belief that brown people were just destined to be chubby or even fat, and I thought it was down to brown genetics. And the reason that reinforced this kind of limiting belief I had was that no one in my family was necessarily fit or even exercised. And I think that this purely boiled down to a lot of things to do with culture and the foods we eat. Like one of these, there's so many instances, especially if you're a brown guy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like every bit of food we have is so fucking oily. There's so much oil packed in, there's so many fats. And I guess this is to do with brown culture and the kind of lifestyle, but I don't know why this core belief was hardened and kind of ingrained into me as I was a child, that this was deemed as normal, because it's not. But I guess it's probably more down to the way our parents were raised. And for most of my life, I thought the reason I was fat was purely down to genetics, but it's not. And I don't know what it is with brown culture, but health just isn't promoted at all. There's no impotence, there's no emphasis, there's no encouragement to be fit and healthy. It's just kind of follow the status quo. You've got to eat this thing, you've got to follow this culture, you've got to follow this thing, you've got to eat this food, you can't eat anything else. And as a result of that, it feels like maybe this is maybe this is some fuck, I was gonna say this is some kind of brainwashing. Maybe it is. Who knows? But I just never understood why health was never promoted. I guess it just wasn't something that was part of the brown culture or just Asian people in general. Like, and then as a result of that, like people who've grown up all throughout their life living this kind of a lifestyle have ended up going on to have things like diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. Like, I know for a fact members of my family definitely suffer from that kind of thing because they've lived this lifestyle for so many years. And I thought it was purely down to genetics, but it's not. It's down to your literal lifestyle and the way you act and the things you do and the things you eat. And for so long, I thought it was because of the fact we were brown, and that has literally nothing to do with it. It's more so down to culture and like these old traditional values, but I feel like most of them are complete shit. Don't get me wrong, brown food is fucking brilliant. I love it. And I say I sit quite closely with like kind of culture and lifestyle, but it's not the way forward. You've got to kind of detach from that, especially if you're a brown person, or maybe you're not, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just something that was hammered into our parents that made them stick so closely to this core belief that they've got to eat in a certain way, they've got to eat this thing, and they never ever prioritize health, and they rarely ever exercised and just cut down on their kind of fat intake and stopped having so many seed oils. And as a result of that, this led to health consequences later in life as they got into like 50s and 60s. These are the kind of things they're facing because they've lived this kind of same kind of brown life all their life. And I thought that if I was going to continue to live like my parents, I'd probably end up like them as well, which is probably be like, oh, why would you say that? Maybe I'm a piece of shit for saying this, I don't know, but that is what I believe. If I continue to live like my parents have, I'm going to end up like them. And maybe I sound like a horrible person for saying that, but I think it's true. And growing up, I always had a passion for sports, and like in school, I'd always be like quite competitive, and I loved like those little competitions I used to have in PE and stuff. And I obviously wasn't like a fit, athletic kid, but I still enjoyed doing those things. And I always used to think that I was like just a fat, chubby kid because of the fact of my brown genetics. And maybe that did play a factor, I don't know. But my kind of natural desire I always found fun and enjoyment out of like competition, playing sports and stuff. So it makes me think, why do I enjoy those things? Why do I enjoy those things so much? why am I so, I wouldn't say fit and active, but why do I enjoy those things? And why am I not fit because of them? Because I played football quite regularly when I was in secondary school. And I always loved PE, funnily enough, even as a chubby brown kid, because I was quite competitive. I always watched sports and shit. And it kind of led me to believe, why am I still like a chubby brown kid? And obviously it was down to lifestyle and the things I ate and food I ate, and more so like brown culture and just a general lifestyle. Health wasn't really promoted. So when I was like a chubby brown kid, my parents kind of just passed it off as like the norm. Like a lot of brown kids, especially in teenage years, are quite chubby. That's just how they are, and that's probably down to how your parents have taught you the way of life, and then just lack of knowledge when it comes to like health and nutrition. Like, they obviously aren't fit and healthy themselves. I mean, a large portion of them probably aren't, and as a result of that, your kids are going to probably end up, or their kids are probably going to end up turning out to be similar, or if not the same as them. And genetics don't play as much of a part as you think they do. And when I first discovered running and working out, I realized that you can actually make a change. Like, your genetics are not fixed. You can change your appearance, you can change your body weight, you can change literally everything about you. You can even change the way you look with plastic surgery and shit. But the point I'm trying to make is, your genetics are not the be all or end all. You can change quite a lot about you. And this is the kind of journey I started on to start taking my health and nutrition more seriously. And this is when I first started running, probably when I was about 15. And I started with the Couch to 5K, like a foundation. And then from that, I was on and off running for a couple of years. And then from that, I started taking running more seriously again as I hit like 19, 20-ish. And I started taking it more seriously again, and I started to see real progress. And it turns out all this time, my genetics had absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just the manner of how you live, as in your lifestyle, and also the actions and the reasoning behind why you're doing what you're doing. So I got into running and working out a couple of years ago because I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I've always been like a chubby brown kid, and I've always had like a, what's the word? Like a, well, not a beer belly, but like I was overweight. It's the easiest way to put it. It's the easiest way to put it. And I just wasn't happy with the way I looked. I wanted to do something to change that. And because of the fact I really love sports, despite being a chubby kid, which is quite interesting actually, I wanted to do something about it. So this is when I first started working out, started learning about running. Super easy and accessible, and I did that for a couple months and then stopped, and then picked it up again a few years later, and I started making real good progress towards that. And this was like the start of my real journey to becoming lighter and also fitter. And if you're a brown guy, I feel like the only way to like combat this, and so you don't end up like your parents, I know it's probably a horrible thing to say, but you've got to how do I say it in a way that makes sense? You've got to fucking destroy all your beliefs you have about food, nutrition, health. Whatever your parents have taught you is a fucking lie. Whatever they've tried to coin you into, or try and lecture you on food, health and nutrition, I'm not being funny, but if they are not fit and healthy, you should not be taking advice from them, or respectively listening to them. The moment I stopped listening to my parents and kind of acted with my own free will and started taking things seriously for myself, that's when I started making progress. Because, and I guess this isn't really our parents' fault, I guess it's just how they've been raised to believe how things are, and kind of culture and lifestyle. And I'm not gonna blame my parents for believing that, because that's probably just what they were taught growing up. But I know for a fact what they were taught and their core beliefs about food, health and nutrition are fucking dead wrong. And you've got to go against the grain. You've got to delete every limiting belief you have about yourself, whether it's the fact you're chubby, you're fat, whatever, or maybe Asian food, you think it's healthy for you, it's fucking not. It's packed with seed oils, so many fats, so many calories. If you continue living that way, you are not going to be a fit and healthy adult. That's just not going to be the case. And like, for example, my mum used to have this belief, I have no idea where it came from, where we'd have a like oily Asian food and then we'd have salad on the side, and that was considered healthy. Like, what the fuck? Like, how in any world is that healthy? Just having a bit of salad on the side of your fucking 1,000 calorie meal of fucking parathas and other oily Asian food like curries and stuff. It's like, fucking hell, is that really what you believe? How on earth is that healthy? It's not. It's packed with calories, packed with oils, got loads of calories from like roti and stuff like that. In no world is that healthy. Of course, I'm not gonna tell you to stop eating those foods because obviously I don't want to take you away from your culture. I still eat those from time to time, but it's not something you should be eating regularly. If you continue to eat this food regularly, you're going to end up having those problems your parents probably have as they get older. And as you get older, you'll probably end up having these as well if you don't take your health and fitness seriously. And these are the kind of eating habits we had growing up. And once was able to put myself in a position where I could do my own food shop and start buying foods that I wanted to eat, I never just went out of my way to buy and eat those foods because I knew for a fact they weren't healthy for me. And I started shifting more towards, like, how do I put this into words? I shifted my kind of food and diet into foods that are catered towards like fitness and health and like bodybuilding and stuff. So my diet went from like curries and roti and parathas and stuff like that, and I shifted that all the way and started focusing more on proteins, carb-rich foods, or foods that are rich in carbs, high fibers, those kind of things. And I incorporated more fruits into my kind of diet, and as a result of that, I've started to make progress in terms of health and fitness, and I've lost a few kilos as I started cutting at the start of this year. I'm down about 4.5 kilos from 92.8. I weigh, as of today, about 88.4. So it's down roughly about 4.5 kilos, and I'm going to continue to do that. And what my core message I want to leave you with is, whatever your parents taught you about health and fitness is 100% wrong. Your parents fucking lied to you. And the moment you understand what I'm saying and understand if you continue to live the way your parents have lived, you're going to end up like them. Once you kind of get rid of that limiting belief or these beliefs that were instilled upon you and completely fuck them off, is the moment you're going to start to make progress and you're going to realize that, holy shit, my health and fitness, I've completely neglected them all my life. I'm going to start taking that shit seriously. That's the moment you change. And that's why I started running. And I can run a few miles quite easily now, as opposed to when I first tried to run, probably sometime in like year 7, year 8 PE. I really struggled to run about a kilometre, which is fucking crazy when I think about it now. Like, holy shit, I was that unfit, I couldn't even do that. To now, I can run miles like it's a complete breeze. It's crazy to think, isn't it? And it's crazy to think because maybe this has never crossed your mind before, but maybe it should be something you think about. Anyway, that's all I've got. Those are the kind of thoughts I just had that sprung to mind today. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there.